If you did not watch part 1, you need to pause this. You need to go back and listen to part 1 because I have the beautiful I'm not, and I said this in part 1 and I'm still standing by it. Woman is just not a strong, like, she is the whole universe within her. Like, there is I just fell even more in love with you after recording part 1, Justyna. And it is such, how can I say this? There is something delightful about you on not just like I don't want to, I hate that fucking word, whimsical. There is something, so I'm sorry, I'm just not owning that word. Yeah, there is something
I'll have to work on that.
really knowing about you. Like, it feels like I've walked 1,000 lives
Mm,
with you. You have shown up in at times when I didn't even know I needed a bit of you. And I am excited to
mm,
now talk about part 2 of the journey. So part 1 was the start, conception, even the contracts before conception, right? And
mhm,
then we got to the point of talking about forgiveness pieces and embodiment and trauma and how we're showing up in our trauma space and whatnot. Uh, and now we did do an analogy. We're going to carry that over because that was beautiful. Was the steak analogy? So you marinated over the last 7 years. You have been put on the grill. We are
yeah.
heading towards being medium rare. I said I want to know what the side dishes are. I want to know what's the seasoning. So now you have come through your, you are, we're talking about the last 7 years of your life. Okay. So
Mhm,
you have taken an interesting turn during these last 7 years, right? You've had a bit of a lifestyle shift, maybe family
mhm,
structural shifts. You are in your children era. So let's talk about, where has that taken you now? I'm just going to pour up. So now
mm,
you've embodied a lot of where you were at, forgiveness pieces, energy. You've gotten out of teaching, correct? You have now shifted gears. What now? What
mhm,
is Justyna doing now? Where is she at?
mm. I'm all about analogies. I'm such a visual learner. Um, I'd like to say
Okay.
I'm the willow tree now. I was this songbird I didn't have a voice. I couldn't say what they knew and it wasn't received. That sort of has been looking for this safe place to plant her nest. And I realized I wasn't alone in that there are a lot of other women out there looking for that. And in my walk of this last 7 years and sort of this unbecoming of this soul pivot that I've been in, my cup has been full and now it's time to get a new cup. And I've stepped into this place where I realized I couldn't find what I was looking for. I had to remember that I've always been it. We talk a lot about becoming, and that for me that word is, oh, it doesn't feel right. And I've sat with it for such a long time of like, you're becoming this. It always feels like, again, it's that handing
Mhm.
it over to something that I'm not. And I have lived in that disempowerment energy for so many years that everything now is about like returning that back to
Mhm.
myself, is empowering myself, empowering other women to say, you already know you've got everything you need inside of you. And that includes you already are who you've always been here to be.
You
So you're not
are. I love
becoming anything, you are. And so I've entered into this, yeah, I've entered into this place of just being that that willow tree for other people,
Mhm.
specifically a willow because I love how resilient they are. Um, and it's allowing for the space of these other women who are looking to find that safe place to remember that all the power lives within them. You know, these songbirds to come and land and to just be, to remove the noise
Yeah.
because there's so much noise out in the world, you know, um, full of information, other people's triggers and projections, and land back into their own space and really hear their own song. And so being that anchor and being that for others is really
You know what? That
what my goal is
is
now, to
it
offer
is
that.
so beautiful and so needed, and I think that a lot of practitioners out there are still in that mindset of seeking external help, right? Spirit world, universal, light,
Mm,
gurus, retreats, and I think that we are in our era of remembering and bringing it back into ourselves, and I stand by that. What steps do you think have been the most, um, no, that's not the right word, the most powerful for you, or what tools have been the most powerful for you to bring that energy back into self?
mm, uh, for me, it was a combination of looking at the different tools that would mirror to me what my own energy was. So that was sort of a starting point for me. So after I left teaching, I
Mhm.
I'd say astrology found me, and that was a starting place. And then I layered that in with human design, the soul contract modality, and all of those tools were ways in which I was mirrored who I am. What what can I what can I tune into that shows me what I already know? Because at the end of the day, not only are they tools, but they're mirrors of what already lives within us. But because of
Mhm.
there being so much noise, we're not really sure what we're hearing. And not all of us can hear that. So really listening to our soul is always speaking to us. And I believe that, you know, to my bones. It's always speaking to us. And, you know, the question really is, can we hear it? And the place in which I am now, I can hear it
And that's
now, but I
interesting
couldn't when I
because
started.
if you've listened to me talk on your soul wisdom, I always say wisdom, and on my Instagram, I tend to be a little bit aggressively against learning modalities. Okay. And it's not because I have a problem
Mm,
with learning different things. For me, it is bypassing. But it's interesting because I had a bit of a penny drop when you were saying that,
mm,
because to me, I'm wondering if it's just a reframing of the mind into it triggering what
mm.
you already know and resonating with whatever modality is offering you as a way to embody that. Does that make sense? I don't even know what I'm saying, but it makes sense in my head.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I hear you. And so part of the trigger that I'm hearing is this piece of like you're handing over
Right.
your power to something that is outside of you, but you're in this beautiful stage of yourself where you're experiencing the embodiment of what all of these things are
Mhm.
already showing. Like you live it. You live it out. We all do. And when you can hear your soul speaking and when you can tune out, sort of like sift through the noise, then it's much easier. But when you are unraveling, when
Mhm.
you are unbecoming, all the things that, the worldly projections and the way that we have been conditioned, that's a lot. It's a stripping. It's like those, I'm an 80s baby, but the wallpaper where you take a layer off and you're like, oh, good, I
Right.
got to that wallpaper. And then there's three more behind it. And you're just like trying to get the wallpaper off the wall, but there's layer upon layer. It's hard to know what's underneath there when there's so many layers. And so I still think that the world right now lives in this place where we've taken all of these tools and we are using them incorrectly. We are leaning into, and I strongly believe this, we're leaning into them in such a degree that we're outsourcing our power, and we are forgetting that we already know this. So, I mean, half the time I'll laugh and I'm like, I'm feeling this way. And then I'll go check the astrology, or the whatever's happening. I'm like, oh, it's this. Well, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's that. That doesn't hold me, to Pluto
Right.
retrograde, Mercury. I'm living it. And so I can stay stuck in that piece of,
Mhm.
in that cage, and
Right.
be this caged bird for the rest of my life. Or I can remember that those are all things that I am already
Mhm.
intuitively feeling when I tune into myself. And they're going to affect me differently than others because I am my own unique energy and have my own unique essence. And when I can hear my soul speaking to me, I'm going to move in the correct way for myself. And, that comes back to like tuning into our hearts and getting ourselves into our
That's
own
amazing.
coherence. So it's really noisy out there. It gets really noisy out there with all the tools, with all these things. But when you're starting, we sometimes just need, I like to say, like, we need to fill our proof bucket. And sometimes we just need to take that bucket and fill it and be like, oh, right, look, this is happening. Because we don't know how to distinguish like our soul speaking. And we've spent so much time tuning into like what our body is saying to us. And this is, I guess, another perspective that I have that shifted for me. But if our bodies are speaking to us,
Yes.
then we've stopped listening to our soul.
Yes.
I actually think the
I
body comes second.
absolutely agree with that.
So it's not right now the energies are very much like everyone's tune into your body. And so we've swung the pendulum so far one way that now we're just trying to like rein everything in. So now it's get out of your mind and get into your body. Okay. And then the next stage is going to be, okay, now you're listening to your body. Can you rein that back even more to
Right.
tune into your
Right.
heart, to tune into your
And I
soul?
think that we put so much power,
Yeah.
we do
We're
give so much
just,
power away to these
mm,
different, modalities or techniques. And
mhm,
because we want an easy fix and we think, well, if we get a massage, it's done. The trauma's gone, right? Or whatnot.
mhm,
I do want to
mhm.
touch on something that is absolutely fascinating to me on so many levels, because this embodies every single layer of self, is the celibacy piece. So I want to
Mhm,
hear
mhm.
how you reach that choice and what have been the benefits for you.
Yeah, it's funny. Again, speaking of like our soul speaking to us, this was intuitively just coming through me this morning. I was making notes, unknowingly, whether or not we would speak about it or not. And so one of the things that I wrote down was I
Wow.
didn't choose it, it chose me. And it didn't look like that from the beginning. I can say that now in retrospect. It was my soul guiding me to that place. But having been someone who experienced um, sort of filling my remembering cup of the pieces, places, and experiences, part of that included how I related with men. There was this entanglement. There was this, like, my safety is dependent on this enmeshment energy that we had. And as I unraveled this last 7 years, my body started to be like, I'm tired. I actually don't, not tonight. I don't feel like connecting. All the things and all the excuses that we make. And so I hadn't been listening to my soul. And so my body started speaking and saying, like, no. And it was always like, it was just a list of excuses, of things that I thought at the time. Again, it's like, we don't know until we know. That just looked like other things that women experience, because there are some, nights where it's like, you've got 4 kids, you've got, like, activities, your load, and what I realized started happening was my creative life force energy, the wisdom of my womb, my home space, was not being utilized for me. So I had spent all these years pouring that energy into my partner, and pushing them towards their highest good and their best self, and realized, why don't I have any energy left at the end of the day for me? And again, that's like a little piece of it. And at the end of the day, it was really a walk of, again, all fingers pointing on me, my own sense of safety. Do I feel safe if I'm not giving this energy away? Can I be home within myself? And it's all connected to that false illusion of separation that I had been filling with my remembering cup, being born in Poland, being ripped from that place. I even went back to think of, like, my own birth, my mom having a blood transfusion when she was giving birth to me. And, I was that kid in grade 7 who missed their hepatitis B shot because I had immunity from that, from the trauma and the blood transfusion when I was a kid. And so from the very beginning, all of that began. So there's this walk, there was this reclamation of my own creative self. And what it's done for me now has been, it's like I took that cord that was plugged in somewhere else and I plugged it back into myself again. And so the empowerment came back, the creative, like, life force energy came back, the yin, like the vessel of my creation, the womanly, like, essence of me started pouring back into myself. And it really gave me that, it gave me my power back. It gave me the power to trust myself, to trust my voice, to know that my knowing was correct, in that my sense of safety comes from me, my sense of home comes from me, my power comes from me. And so we all have that walk in our own way. For me, that was disempowerment. For me, that was, like, my sense of sovereignty. And in a way, I didn't know it then, but that was the beginning of all the final, like, unpluggings of, pointing fingers everywhere else and returning to me.
listening and absorbing and marinating my steak in all this, this the whole meaning behind it. And I realized that our like any sort of sexual energy is absolutely transactional, right? It's a release, it is an exchange, it
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
um, you know, men dive into this when they're going out for a sporting event because it releases testosterone. Like there's always a transaction around it. And I think that women have been always trained from biblical times and religious scripture that you're meant to serve, right? And it is now that
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
about it, you know, I have really not given it any thought because I am 25 years into a committed relationship and it's a very mutual exchange. But from the other perspective, I could see entering that middle age point for a woman when that transactional exchange has does is not needed anymore. The childbearing is stopping. The cycles are coming and they're slowing down. And I could just imagine what sort of energy could be kept and harnessed and just perpetuated in that womb space and how much you could create when you're not giving it
Oh,
away.
absolutely, absolutely.
And yeah, go
Mhm.
ahead.
And, I was just gonna say it feels like, I read somewhere it's like we take on it gives us access to our partner's blueprint because that's what that is. That is that, you're exchanging fluids that are
Absolutely.
your blueprint of your life. And so being being as unknowingly being as sensitive as I am, it wasn't a part of like my conscious choice that like, oh hey, like my actual vessel is taking on
Everything,
someone
DNA,
else's
everything. Right,
walk. DNA, but their walk, the things that suddenly
right.
were never my
It's almost like you're
experiences
becoming a safe
suddenly
haven for
became
them.
mine. And I mean,
Right.
oh, I was absolutely. I was that safe haven. And one of the things that sort of repeated in that time that came out of my mouth was like, I am not the space for your like
Right.
you to escape like your
Absolutely.
wounds. Because it did. The womb is that safe space. That's that mother.
Right.
That's that intuitive energy. And it isn't to say that there isn't like unconditional love there, but it becomes this empowered piece of
Absolutely.
like, but not
It's
at
that
the cost of me
external, like,
anymore.
validation for the other person again.
And
Right.
absolutely, absolutely, I'm not going to be that energetic space for someone to bypass
Mhm.
or to not look at themselves in that way. Um, and so we take that so much for granted, I think. And I mean, it's not talked about enough. And I see it. I see it, online. I feel it in other women who are walking this path where they're reclaiming that for themselves
Yes.
because they understand the power of it. Right? As women, our womb space is our power. And that transcends, when I have clients who are working with their womb space, oftentimes the suggestion that I give is like, your womb space is your boundary. And that translates into your home, into your property. So I've had clients where I say, walk the outer walls of your home, walk the energetic space of like your yard, because you get to
That's right.
decide who enters and who doesn't. And there's just
It's
there's a
such a
lot of power
beautiful
behind
reminder because
claiming
I
that
think
for
that we
yourself.
get hung up and I think that this was like a phase maybe back in like 2010s, where everyone was big on the releasing, right? You need to have an orgasm to release energy out of your womb space. But I think
Mm.
that we forgot that as a woman, we can absorb and we're not releasing anything. We're just reabsorbing and changing that energy into a different space. Like we are our own system. We don't need to have these releases. I could
Mhm.
imagine the yang and the masculine needing that in order to um, recalibrate or release or
Mhm.
whatnot. But I think a woman has its own, we in our own self, in our own spiritual self, in our physical body, we have our own tools to regenerate and release. And I don't know what the word is. You know, do you understand what I'm like? The word of like, we just keep perpetually having this energy. We don't need to release or destroy or whatever. It just keeps going.
We're alchemizing. Naturally,
Right.
the womb goes through a
Yep.
death and rebirth. We do this monthly. We're doing this. And I think a lot of time we think that, um, I have a lot of conversations with women around, um, and you can see it out there too. It's like our capacity. Women are built for capacity. We're built for childbirth. We're built for being able to hold and withstand a lot of things. And we don't honor that. We always say like expand your capacity, expand and expand, but we forget that we have to also
Right.
honor that
At the
space
container itself.
equally,
Absolutely. Like,
and
where does
we
that
don't honor it
expansion
enough.
end? Like,
Hmm.
we're carrying the you know,
Yes. Oh.
90% of collective consciousness on some level, right? Like, I know that men do their part, but we're more aware of it at the moment, right? And it's like, at what point do we stop?
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know. It's
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm. I think that's
we could
a
go on.
whole other
Yeah, that will
can of
be I will
worms,
invite you
right?
back
To
for part
unpack.
3 on that particular discussion, especially in July, coming into
That's
some
right.
astrological stuff. I do want to, so we've had our steak, we're now cooked on the grill, and now we're being served, and I want to know, now that you are 7 years through a part of the journey, because it's not the whole journey. You have been through several, you know, lifetimes in this
Mhm.
life. How are you showing up in the collective healing space? Because I know this is a gift of yours. I know that every time I talk to you, even if it's a 2-minute voice message, I walk away feeling I feel a little bit like, "Fuck yes, that's how I am. Yes, thank you for reminding me of how badass I am." And there is this you've mentioned the reflector piece, and that is absolute like, you've reflected, like, 6,000 things back to me right now. And I like, the celibacy, I'm like, I have never really thought about it for longer than maybe 2 minutes. And that was really nice to kinda sink it, and that's gonna stay with me today to
Mm.
really marinate in that. Um how are you how are you feeling in this stage of life and showing up for other women and all this jazz? I'm a very professional interviewer, sorry, but yeah, I just want to know all the things.
I think I really landed in this place of just like being. I have been in this doing space, and now I really there's an emphasis on empowering women to trust their knowing and land in their being. We're constantly like, what is it that I do? What's it this like, I talk a lot about purpose too, but not in a way of like again something outside of you. It's really being able to cut through the noise and realize that exactly as you are being, that is your medicine for the world. You are the thing that you have been looking for. um, and so I think there's just this piece of being that anchor, being sort of that, I gave that willow tree analogy of being that willow for these songbirds that are looking for a place to land so they can feel empowered and trust their voice and trust their knowing and have faith in sort of the unseen um, energies that they feel. And so building that space, building that community. I have a program that's going to be coming out to allow for women to cut through the noise and meet themselves and really understand their own energy, to, face the music that maybe they've been avoiding. That's scary and hard, and it's not pretty, and it's but it gives us our beginning point for our
Mm-hmm.
direction to begin anew. Um, and it's not a 3-year talk therapy where we're going to be repeating the same thing, right? It's just an acknowledgement because we really need that acceptance. And I mean, that's nothing to say that that isn't needed, because I know I have needed to allow things to come out verbally as well. All spaces are exactly what they need to be. But I think it's important to say that as long as we're following our own knowing to know what's right for us, then that no one can say otherwise. But sometimes we just fall into these spaces because someone else
Right.
is doing it, even though it's incorrect for us. So looking um, back so that we can move forward, and then really stepping into that repatterning. That's the embodiment. I mean, we can offer clarity to others. I can offer clarity. I can oftentimes hear something before it becomes um, yeah, Amanda always says this to me. It's like you can hear something before it even becomes conscious to the other. And I've learned to love and accept that about myself. And also, that doesn't change a pattern. Having clarity doesn't meet you in your day to day when you're met in that threshold moment of, like, someone is showing this for you and someone is meeting you here so that you can walk through. Um, and so there's those practices that allow us to be in the embodiment of what we're actually
Mm-hmm.
here to be, which is ourselves. So a lot of deconditioning, a lot of unbecoming.
Yes, and I think that it is also important. I have not had the pleasure of having you as a mentor. However, you are a friend mentor, and what I have learned, and I think this is something that is so missing out in the world right now, and it really gives me the shits, is you share and you hold space for that moment and it lingers, right? But the thing is that
Mm,
I can still, and I'm talking from my experience, I can still go out and function in my human existence. I can still go do pickup, I can still work. It is such a gentle little ripple that you, like a little haven of a bubble that you offer at that moment, and you give these nuggets of advice
mm,
and you drop these bombshells, right? So they can be little nuggets or bombshells, whatever my analogy is. But it is so profound that it is absorbed. That little bubble goes into that soul space. I can still go function, but it stays with me and it filters out through my whole day. And I think that that is
mm,
so important because we don't need to be immersed in this for 2, 3 weeks, months, years in order to feel whole and to remember again, right? It's about taking these nuggets and gradually integrating them
mm,
with such power that you can still go out there and function. And I think that that is such an important thing to mention
mm,
because it is not a retreat mentality. It is not a like a serious program mentality where you pay the money, go, and then you do it whatever you want. And, this is these bubbles that get absorbed, and they're so profound. I can't even begin to describe to people who aren't blessed with having you in their sphere. Everyone needs a little bit of Justyna in their life because of those little bubbles. And,
Mm.
like, I'm getting goosebumps saying it. It is not this, like, foofy
Oh.
woo-woo crap. It is authentic remembering and authentic exchange of energy. And if you're not ready to really step up to that next level of I think that anyone who's in their trauma would benefit from having a discussion with you. It's not like you have to be ready to have you in their world and to have that exchange of energy. But you really have to be ready to absorb your energy and to connect with your energy in order for this to work. And let me tell you, it is such a beautiful place to be. Like, you're never leaving me. I'm just saying, I'm going to find you. I'm going to hunt
Mm.
you down. Not going anywhere. But and I'm not even in the
Well,
healing
thank you.
portion. This is just everyday existing. You know what I mean? Which is just amazing. It's so tangible, so practical.
Mm.
It's such a, a beautiful. I love talking to you. I'm just saying, just love talking to you. Um,
Oh, well, thank you.
good.
I'm deeply receiving
Yeah.
that too. That, hearing on the other end. Yeah. And I love those, in learning about my own energetics, I've had to accept that it's been described as like
Mhm.
shock or like thunder, like thunder coming in, sort of like rumbling something, and or it's been described as like catalytic. And I mean, if I look at my human design, my energy is 70% of that. It's my conscious sun is a gate 51. If anybody wants to know, I'm there. I'm not here to beat around the bush. I'm here to hear what's underneath so that
Yes.
you can begin anew. And one of my favorite ways of doing that is I'll have just like voice note transmissions with clients because I can hear um, in someone's voice what their soul isn't saying, or what their
Mhm.
soul is saying, what they're not saying, their human isn't saying. Um, and our soul is constantly speaking to us. So sometimes it's like you're in the noise, and so you can't hear that, and my field can hear that. And so sometimes we just need that reflected back to us. It's like, hey, you've said exactly what you need. You are your medicine that you've been
Mhm.
searching for. So just go listen to the voice note and listen to it maybe
That's
15
right, because
times
that's your
until
fault for
you
not
actually hear
absorbing
what
it the
I'm
first
hearing.
time. I'm just saying.
Um,
Because I've
yeah.
been there too. I've been like, "Okay, I need to go re-listen to this when I'm
Well,
not driving." Um, 'Cause they do deserve their own time and
mhm,
space, and I realized
mhm.
that, pretty early on, that you cannot just listen to a voice message from you without being present, because 'cause they're that profound. I could not imagine, in all honesty,
Mm.
having access to that in the program. I wonder how much more awesome I would be. I'm serious.
It's like a
I
spiritual chat
I've
GPT.
already been like, "Okay, maybe I get to look at the forgiveness piece. Maybe I get to look at celibacy as the transactional energetic piece." I've learned a lot and I appreciate it a little bit because now I've got some work to do. But I
Hey, you are whole in yourself, and it's just loving that. It's being like, yeah, that's a part of me, and I'm going to accept it and
That's right.
land
I'm
in
gonna
that space so that
counteract yes.
it can be
And then I'm gonna have to go
unconditional.
flip someone off in traffic just to bring back the balance of Kylie versus,
Hey,
the healed version.
You know what? Those are all the pieces of you.
That's
The
right.
spice of
I
you
own the
is
fact.
part of it all.
I'm an angry bear.
You wouldn't be
It's
Kylie if you
okay.
weren't
It's okay.
having those moments. Yeah,
That's the
totally.
part where I'm not willing to
Absolutely.
heal the trauma because it is a spice of life
Absolutely,
and it
Emily.
keeps everyone around me very entertained. So it's just a part of me. I've embodied it now at this point.
Mm,
Well, anyway, we're at a point.
there you go. And you know, the reframe there is like, is it a traumatic part of you, or is it just you've been told that there's something wrong there? Can it just be you, and you just have not been maybe met by people who are like, wow, I can't quite handle all of this, and you're just like, well, that's too
I
bad
love
because
that.
this is who I am, so meet me
You know,
here
it's
or
funny because I had my
drive on
human
by.
design situation done, and I don't know what the gates are or the numbers, but I know that I have a very closed off everything. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And if that
Mm.
rubs up against that, I'm okay with that too, because it's in my human design chart. Therefore, it's accurate.
Yeah,
And I'm sticking with that.
it's just remember to rein it back,
Never.
that
It's much more fun
it
for
all
me when I
belongs to
don't.
you. Yeah.
Um, anyway, we're digressing.
Ah.
Please share with everyone. Listen, if you I'm serious, if you don't go like this goddess universal energy after this part 2, I'm going to find you and I'm going to make you like her Instagram because I love the posts. They're kind of new, right? You're kind of like I'm putting myself
Mm.
out there. I'm loving this.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's I'm allowing every piece of me to be and to revolve, like it evolve.
I picked up what
I'm
you're
just a
putting down.
revolving door. That's what I was picturing. Evolving door, and into this sort of like this being. And so things change, things shift. We're so
Mhm.
we're stuck on staying the same, and
Beautiful thing.
people change, and that's a good thing. We are meant to be
Yep.
constantly in this like revolving door. So come join the party and come land in your heart and in your own energy so that we can live in this place of unconditional love for one another
Mhm.
and play our part in shifting things for everybody. So, but it
Absolutely.
begins with us, you know, all fingers need to be pointed
Absolutely,
in
and
our own direction.
your
So,
your, social media
unfortunately,
beacon is now out there in full force, and, it is beautiful. Come
there we
home.
go.
Come home. Okay. Look at me. I'm like, I'm seriously just, like,
Love
embodied
that.
my very
I love
toxic
that.
spiritual guru self right there. Come home. Okay, this is why you don't sign up for me.
Come home. Come
I'm gonna
home.
get my caftan
Sprinkled
on.
it all on you.
It'll be beautiful. All right. So what was
Yeah, there
the
you go.
handle on Instagram? Or do you have any
I love
others?
it.
Like, do I need to put links and stuff below, right? But, where
So
are
I
you? Where can your
I'll have
beacon be found?
if you go to the Instagram handle, where am I found? So you can go to my
Mhm.
Instagram at underscore the coherent heart, and then go find a link in my bio, and I'll have a little wait list there for the
Guess what
program
I'm
that's
gonna
coming.
go do?
So come
I
sign
didn't know
up.
you had a wait list. I found the beacon. I've just
You're
gotta
gonna
go
go
and
do
actually
that.
walk up the I love having you're my analogy
You just
girlfriend.
gotta
I
come
just like, I've
join
got a
into
steak, I've
that.
got wallpaper, I've got a life now. I've got it.
You've
Like,
got
yeah,
steaks, you got new
I love
cups.
it.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna
so
go
visual of
sign up, on the
that
wait
in
list
me.
because I wanna know. I wanna know all the things.
Yeah. Imagine a space of empowered women who are returning
Amazing.
home to themselves and standing in their own alignment and their
We
purpose.
so
Like
need
that
this
ripple
on a
is just going to.
universal point right now. We need to come together as a collective instead of standing on our own
Oh,
islands pointing the
absolutely.
fingers at well, I've got daddy issues or I've got, you know, partner issues.
Yes.
No, girlfriend. Yep. I love that.
Yeah. Yes. Very much so. And that's the part that nobody that's the part that's not
It's hard.
it's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's that's the part that we're not meant to do alone because of that. Because we're all there, you know? I'll open the door
Oh,
to
yeah.
my demons in my closet
I
back
wear them
there,
on
and
my
it's
sleeve and
full.
on
It's
my finger
full.
when, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
You've got them
Absolutely.
tattooed on. Yeah.
Well, come join the party, a
So, yeah,
very
we're
nice,
not
calm
alone in this.
party.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I look forward to, I'm going to have a part three, but it's coming. Okay. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
Here we go.
All right. Well, lovely to have you
Amazing. Thank
on.
you.
That concludes our whatever this is, episode,
Thank you.
podcast. I'm not professional. I don't do this. Okay. But thank you so much. I am, you know, excited to have you on. Really excited.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.